Again, bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda.
Too often, I'll say bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. Again, bare-faced lies. Too often, I'll say bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. I'll say bare-faced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. You wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. You think we never wanna defend, yeah. 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced lies.
Bare-faced lies. Bare-faced lies.
Hey son, you got a party, got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced lies.
Bare-faced lies. Bare-faced lies.
Comrades, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debt and childhood poverty. Won't somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy? Oh yeah.
Bare-faced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? 'Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, bare-faced.
This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
I think let's get started. Didn't realise the football was on, otherwise I would have given this second thoughts probably, but no, we need to get through this. I hear things aren't going well for Sean Fielding. The barefaced liar. Yeah, things aren't going well for him at all, and the rumours coming out of the Ivory Tower and Labour Party headquarters aren't good for Sean at all. So I will bring people up to date as best as I can. And I wanted to take today to outline, just 15-20 minutes today, to outline why it is that Sean Fielding has found himself in the position he has. Remember, 2 years ago, he ousted the current Labour leader, ousted her, Jean Stratton, ousted her and her leadership team, and came in all guns blazing with Arud Shah flanked on one side, Abdul Jabbar flanked on the other, with the shadow of Jim McMahon behind him. He walked down Union Street, walked down Yorkshire Street, and he had taken over the council. 2 years later, he can walk down Union Street, he can walk down Yorkshire Street, he can walk wherever he wants, guess what? None of these others are walking with him. No. It's not that he walks alone. No, no, no. The only person who's walking alongside him is Andy Burnham, who he knows that he needs the votes in Oldham. But let's get on today. Good evening. I'm not asking for donations or anything today. You know, people have donated on Sunday, and this is just me doing the best I can. Hi, Tony. Hope you're well, Kay. Oh, quite a few of you. Oh, brilliant. Let's get on. Let's get on with this. Now, I click that. Okay. So what are the 7 sins of the Samosa Sidekick? First of all, everyone knows he's not the one in charge. He's just a monkey. The organ grinder is this man, Jim McMahon. He puts Sean there as a stooge, and he puts Arud Shah alongside him. Arud Shah works for Jim McMahon. Remember, we know where Arud Shah's loyalties are. They're not to Sean Fielding. And he had Abdul Jabbar there, who he regularly has samosas with in Coldust, in Westwood, visits the mosques, visits the grill, the building Abdul Jabbar owns, goes on the TV station, Bangla TV or whatever it's called. Again, they're based in a building that Abdul Jabbar owns. Associated with Irish Imi, openly wrote a reference for him to help keep him in the town, even though he then got picked up by the police and thrown back in prison. Yes, Jim McMahon is in control of it all, and he controls it through Abdul Jabbar and Arud Shah. So Sean is just a monkey, and everyone knows it, to the point where Jim McMahon has been recently out making videos and campaigning in the town on behalf of his Labour Party councillors. You'll have seen the video I put up yesterday of Jim saying, go out and vote for Abdul Jabbar, because Abdul Jabbar has a fight on his hands. Where's the video of Jim defending or promoting Sean Fielding? Has anyone seen it? Have I missed it? I went through his Twitter profile today. There was nothing. Not only was there nothing of Jim McMahon promoting Sean Fielding, there was nothing of any of the main Labour Party councillors in the town going anywhere near Sean Fielding. The vultures are circling. The monkey has had his day. The organ grinder knows his damaged goods and is already looking elsewhere for a new leader. Let's get the next slide on. Let me see if I can do this properly. Give me 1 second. There you go. The second set of the 7 sins of the Samosa Sidekick. And again, just a demonstration, another demonstration of how he's not in charge. Arud Shah brazenly celebrated her relationship with Dale Cregan's getaway driver and convicted heroin dealer Irish Imi. Has she stood in the council chamber and declared her loyalty to this gangster? Do you know what Sean Fielding did? He stood up and applauded. The town watched on, and the town remembered, and the town wants nothing to do with a man who is associated or sits silently, endorses relationships like this. No, men like him should not be, and I'm pointing at the screen, men like Dale Cregan's getaway driver should be nowhere near politics, should be nowhere near any of this. But Sean Fielding sat still. And you know why he sat still? Because he wasn't in control. Arud Shah could do what she wanted. The CSE scandal. Barefaced lies or just barefaced cheek? Let me quickly go through what took place. I wrote to Sean Fielding at the time, urging him to do the right thing. Sean, this scandal broke out on the watch of McMahon. But you're just a proxy, ain't you, Sean? You've not got any bottle. You can't stand up for yourself. You know your career is dependent on others. So you stood up in the council chamber and claimed it was all bare-faced lies. And then when you launched your investigation to coincidentally, nah, people aren't stupid. You had your girlfriend hold up your ripped, dirty underpants whilst you described your sexual fantasies. And then when your investigation came and collapsed, you had nothing to say. When your chief investigator ran away, why did he run away, Sean? Then you went running to your boy, Burnham, who'd just given your girlfriend a job to take on the investigation, and you told the town the findings were imminent. And guess what happened? After you quashed Brian Hoban's motion of asking the government to intervene and look at this properly, in the very next council meeting, your officers announced how your own inquiry wasn't going to report until after the elections. We know who the barefaced liar is, Sean Fielding. The people of the town know your role in covering up of child abuse. So much so, Sean Fielding, it then came out, Failsworth School, where you were a governor, active relationship, friendship even, with one of the teachers who groomed and married his student. But he didn't just stop there, did it, Sean? No. Failsworth School. Children who went complaining of abuse were suspended and only let back in if they promised to drop their complaints. School where you're a governor, Sean, and nothing to say. The people of this town aren't going to forget that. And next we have of the 7 sins of the Samosa Sidekick. He sold out the town to your girlfriend's boss, Andy Burnham. Sean Fielding endorsed the building of a toxic tower in Royton that would pump out poisonous gases into the atmosphere for years to come. He talked it up. It's in black and white, to the point his fellow councillors, who suddenly felt under pressure after we exposed this, went running to McMahon, and between all 3 of them, the 2 Royton councillors, 3 Royton councillors and McMahon, they voiced their objections whilst Sean stayed quiet. Andy Burnham's plan to build a toxic tower in Royton were thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of trucks over the years would come and dump their plastics and burn them in our town, so Oldham would become the dumping ground. And then what did he do? When Stockport pulled out of the Greater Manchester Spatial Framework, which is Burnham building on our green belt, on our fields, Sean Fielding stood by Andy Burnham and committed to Greater Manchester Spatial Framework version 2 that would continue to destroy the green belt in this town. Stockport weren't having it. They told them where to sling it. But no, not Sean Fielding. And that's why the only person in the Labour hierarchy that has gone anywhere near him is his boy Burnham. His boy Burnham, who is also covering up the CSE investigation. Why is that, Andy Burnham? Why has it not been released? How long do your investigators need? Or are they still looking for a tape recorder after being found to have doctored evidence? The council auditors, not once but twice in the official council accounts, raised the spectre that this town faced bankruptcy. £37 million in interest payments alone every year for all the money that he's borrowed after what his mate Jim McMahon borrowed and wasted. He bought a shopping centre for £12 million. He says 9.5, but by the time the fees were finished, it's 12 million. And then we found out, hidden in the paperwork that we released from the council. Yeah, his council-funded newspaper didn't report it, did they? No, we had to release it. And what did we find? That they didn't own the leases in the Spindles. Now, Sean Fielding has come out and said, oh, it was just the one lease. No, it wasn't just the one lease. And even if it was, how much more has it cost? Because in that same council paper, there is a line that says they need to hide this. They need it hidden away from the eyes of you and I. Why is that? This man has continued where McMahon left, and this town is on the verge of bankruptcy. So much so that news is emerging that the Odeon cinema that has been subsidized by you and I. Every ticket bought there is subsidized by you and I. And that agreement is coming to an end. And if the Odeon cinema don't get their subsidies continued, they're going to leave. The town faces bankruptcy. And he's been hiring more press officers whilst cutting vital services. 2 press officers we exposed at a combined cost of over 100,000. A chief executive at a cost of about £250,000. 2 deputy chief executives hired, both with dubious pasts. One kicked out of the police force practically, found guilty of gross misconduct. The other one that came, the government report found how she'd messed up 5 or 6 million and it had all disappeared on some scheme that didn't make sense. And what did Sean Fielding do? Days before Purdah, he sends out a letter at a cost of tens of more thousands with the chief executive next to him. Of course she's going to stand next to him. She's just been allowed to leave and work just a day a week. Yeah. Time after time. Financial mismanagement is an understatement. Those of you with long enough memories to when COVID started and how Oldham made its way to the top of the charts will remember Sean Fielding mocking other towns and places about how in Oldham they had everything under control. And then lo and behold, week after week after week, a national disgrace, Oldham at the top of the charts. And what did the council do? They wouldn't tell us which areas were responsible. In fact, Sean Fielding and his council directed people to areas that were not responsible. Why is that? He appointed a COVID queen, Arood Shah. And when Oldham was at the top of the charts and people were losing loved ones across the country, do you know what Sean Fielding did? He went off on holiday for 2 weeks and tried to hide it. And when he came back, he had to self-isolate for a further 2 more weeks. Now, what sort of leader does that? What sort of leader in our time of need goes on holiday for 2 weeks? And last but not least, this is a man who should be in prison if it wasn't for a bent policeman. And if not a bent policeman, then police that are clearly politically controlled under the influence of the police and crime commissioner, who just happens to be his mate, Andy Burnham. He used official council paper, his position as the leader of the council, and contacted the employers of multiple people. He claimed falsely, maliciously, that there were far-right activists, that they're involved in child abuse. The liar, and I'm calling him a liar. He can't sue me, he can't say anything because it's the truth. His council admitted it. He admitted it. The documents exist. He tried to get people sacked. During COVID, when people are desperate, he even went after the daughter of someone. Simple, for no other reason than she was the daughter of someone. Abuse of position, bullying the town, bullying the townsfolk. And now he wants your vote. So there you have it. The 7 sins of the Samosa Sidekick. And that is why on Thursday, you've got to vote him out. People of Failsworth, you've got to vote him out. And that's without me now asking Sean Fielding. Sean, would you like to comment on what I suppose is your mother-in-law? I'll leave that to the people of Failsworth to find out. Vote him out. Even the Labour Party politicians want nothing to do with him. Have you noticed how Jabbar isn't stood by him? How Arood Shah isn't stood by him? How Amanda Chadderton isn't stood by him? They are all keeping their distance. And the vultures are circling. So we know. Let me share with you what I know about the next leadership race, because that is already being discussed in the dark places that these Labour Party politicians occupy. I hear Sean Fielding isn't in some of these WhatsApp groups. You wonder why? Sean, Arood Shah wants to be leader. The only problem is McMahon is struggling to allow her to be leader because Labour Party headquarters are all starting to look towards Oldham and wonder why it is that they have so open associations with gangsters. I'm hearing McMahon would prefer someone like Dr. Chauhan to step forward, a safe pair of hands. Recently decorated for his work on homelessness, relatively unscathed through all of this. Yes, Ian, even Angela Rayner backed Jabbar and not Fielding. What does that say? Sean Fielding was Angela Rayner's agent in the election. No. Sean. Now I know that you think Andy Burnham is going to take care of you and maybe give you a job. But your days as a politician in Oldham are all but over. The people of Failsworth just have to turn out and we take you out. Those were the 7 sins of Sean Fielding. I hope you enjoyed them. I am coming back in a very short while with something for my Muslim brethren, although I think it might also interest some of you. Thank you very, very much.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.